but also to highlight some of our successful collaboration that the Internship and Career Center has had with academic units here on campus. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce our speakers this morning. My name is Katie Cates, and I'm joined here today by two of my colleagues from the Internship and Career Center, Cynthia Goldberg and Janice Morant. And so they'll be switching out with me a couple times throughout the morning. Our agenda this morning will cover an overview of two career courses. The first is AMS 95, which is Careers and Identity in American Culture. And then we'll also talk about SAS 5, which is the Career Discovery Groups program. We'll provide some information about the structure of the courses and the content of the courses, and then talk about how student learning was assessed in those courses. Additionally, we'll share some history and best practices for collaboration with academic units to get the courses started. And finally, we'll wrap up the presentation with some information about campus resources that can contribute to students' career development while they're here at UC Davis. So as higher education positions itself to address some growing national pressure to demonstrate return on investment, as I'm sure we've all heard a lot about that, it's becoming an expectation for college campuses to engage students early and often in their career development, and to make sure that career development is part of the campus culture. So the tricky part, though, is that career development is often a daunting task for students, and often it's a fluid process for them. And that process can be compounded by the fact that a lot of our students equate their selected major with their anticipated career path. And majors tend to change, and sometimes throughout the college journey, they may change multiple times. So I'd like all of you to raise one hand for me, all of you. And then consider the initial major that you selected when you first went in as an undergraduate. And then keep your hand up if you never changed your major. Okay, so we had quite a few people who did end up changing their major. All right, you can put your hands down. Now I'd like you to consider your own career development and think about what you wanted to do for a career when you were 20 years old. I imagine that's changed as you've aged, right? I know it changed for me. I'd like everyone to raise your hand again, please. And then consider what you wanted to do when you were college age. And is that what you're doing currently? If it is, please keep your hand up. Okay. So as we can see, people change their minds. And it's our mission at the Internship and Career Center and as student affairs professionals in general to help students gain the knowledge and the skill sets that they need in order to be active participants in their own career development. Taking that next step, however, for our students, becoming engaged in their own career development can be a real shock to the system. And we did have a video here for you. I'm just going to give it one shot, and if it doesn't work, then I'm going to pantomime the video. No, I'm just going to explain to you what the video was. So we'll see. And, we lost our visuals. Yeah, no, we're not going to. It's not going to work out. So we had a very short video. It was not integral to our presentation. But it's a video of two people riding an escalator. And they're going, and all of a sudden the escalator stops. And they start to panic. And so they're in the middle of an escalator, and they look around, and one of the guys says, "Is anybody out there? Hello? Our escalator is broken. Can anyone come help us?" And they're just standing there. They're tapping their feet, and they're saying, "Oh, this is great. Do you have a cell phone? Does anybody have a cell phone? Who can we get to come help us?" And they're just standing there on the middle of an escalator. And so this video for us really represents how a lot of students feel when they are faced with their own career development. For a long time, they've had people kind of walking them through their academics, through life in general. And for student affairs professionals, I think this perfectly illustrates what we want to help our students avoid, that paralyzing fear that no one is coming to take that next step for them, and they're going to have to take that leap themselves. We want to provide the students that we have here on campus with the tools necessary to take that next step on their own. All right, so what I'd like to do is start talking about a couple of career courses that are here at UC Davis that can help students start to get into the process of career development. The first course that we're going to talk about is AMS 95. It's a course that is housed in the American Studies department, and it's called Career Identities in American Culture. The course's primary goal is to help students learn to make career decisions based on self-assessment and career assessment. So in AMS 95, we aim to increase student self-awareness so that they can make better career-based decisions. It's a 2-unit graded course, and right now it's offered 1 quarter each academic year, often in the spring. So students attend a weekly lecture as well as a weekly discussion session. And those lectures and discussions are facilitated by professionals from the Internship and Career Center. The instructor to student ratio is pretty good. It's 1 to 25. And for this upcoming spring quarter, spring 2015, we've requested to enroll 100 students in the course, and then we'll have 4 sections. The instructor of record for the course is Janice Morand, who will be speaking a little bit later, and then the remaining instructor positions are filled by career professionals who work at the Internship and Career Center. We use the following wheel, and I don't know if anybody has seen this. It's all over the ICC. We use it in our daily work. But in AMS 95, we really use this wheel as a foundation for the work that we do in the course. Throughout the quarter, we show this to the students and point out to them in which parts of the career development wheel we're hitting on a lecture piece. So you can see that the wheel starts with self-exploration, then moves through to the world of work research, which is just kind of gaining some knowledge about different careers. Then moving into experiential education, so things like internships, volunteering, part-time jobs, service learning. Then into decision making and determining goals and making decisions based on those goals. Then finally, developing some job search skills, and then moving into career management. So we always start with the self-exploration piece in AMS 95. And then that goes on for our students to inform what types of careers they will be choosing to research and explore throughout the course. We highlight various concepts on the wheel through lectures, things like goal setting, decision making, and then workplace as culture. And we also tailor the assignments in the course to increase their job skills, so things like writing resumes and cover letters. I wanted to show you all the 3 main components that we have for the course. The first is self-assessment, and that's really a cornerstone for the course. Students determine their skills, values, personality preferences through taking a variety of assessments. Those include Skills Scan, the Strong Interest Inventory, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, and a values assessment that the ICC has developed. And then these assessments help inform the second component of AMS, which is an occupational awareness and labor market research. Our students are expected to conduct job research based on their assessment results. And then they do this by attending internship and career fairs, exploring Aggie JobLink, conducting informational interviews with current career professionals, and then they ultimately will develop a career exploration presentation to present to their peers. And then finally, the last component of AMS 95 is a focus on developing career tools, so takeaways that they can have at the end of the course that will serve them well in their job search. So students will complete a resume, cover letter, reference sheet assignments. Those are all graded, and they're provided feedback. And they'll also learn job search strategies, how to look for the positions that they're interested in, networking techniques. We emphasize the importance of networking. And then students are also able to practice interview skills. There's an assignment where they're able to practice interviewing, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. So these are some examples of lecture topics and sample assignments that we have throughout the AMS course. We start with an overview of career development theory, and then we move into some skills development for professional correspondence. And then some other lecture topics include how to explore various career options by conducting informational interviews. So we talk to them about how to contact career professionals and conduct an informational interview to learn more about a position. We talk about the importance of networking, how to create career goals and explore career decision making. And then finally, take a look at workplace as culture. As far as assignments go, as I mentioned, students complete those assessments early on in the course, and then they're asked to reflect on those results that they get back from the assessments. And they also develop a professional portfolio, so resume, cover letter, references, as well as participate in a mock interview module that's housed through Aggie JobLink, where they actually get to record themselves answering questions to an interview, and then we provide them feedback. We watch through the videos with them and then give them some feedback on their interviewing skills. A lot of our students are very nervous about that assignment, but then by the end, when they provide a reflection of what they thought of it, many of them say they're going to use it again and again. Students also will complete a Meet the Professional assignment, which they write a paper after they meet with the professional and explore a specific position that they're interested in. They're also asked to attend an internship and career fair that can inform that paper as well, and talk in depth with some company representatives there at the career fair. And then the course culminates in a career exploration presentation where the students present to their peers a detailed insight into a particular career that the student chooses. Okay, so now I'm actually going to turn it over to Cynthia, and she's going to talk a little bit about the Career Discovery Groups program.
Okay, so you're going to see changing people here, and CDG, the Career Discovery Groups, is a program that's going to sound similar in some ways to the AMS 95 class, but it's a little bit different in terms of who it targets. This is a program that is a year-long program. It's designed for freshmen who are enrolled in majors in the College of Ag and Environmental Sciences. At this time, those are the only students who participate in this, and they're usually between about 150 and 250 students, freshmen in that program. So it has very similar goals, and I'm going to try to compress this a little bit in the interest of time. It's a year-long course, so this involves 3 quarters of activities. The instructor of record on this is Dave Rizzo. He's the chair in plant pathology and the director of the Science and Society program, and it was developed in partnership with ICC staff, and we work on co-teaching that together. It has a little bit of a complicated format because it's a little bit different each quarter, so I want to spend some time just kind of explaining that part. In the fall, the freshmen are divided into discussion groups, and they're led by a TA that we call a mentor. And the students are enrolled, the undergraduates are enrolled in SAS 98, which is a 1-unit pass, no pass discussion. And in that, they're focusing on transitioning to UC Davis, as well as beginning to think about their long-term goals. It's led by the mentors. The graduate students who are the TAs are also in a 1-unit class that the ICC staff and the CAES staff co-teach. That's a teaching methodology class. And so we're teaching the TAs how to teach the undergraduates. And that's the fall piece. And the focus is on getting the students to have that sense of belonging with a small cohort that they'll stay with all year, and to also do some beginning self-exploration. In the winter quarter, the students are enrolled in SAS 5, which is a 3-unit graded class. And that's a big lecture for Tuesday afternoon, and on Thursdays it's a discussion group back with the same mentor and the same small cohort. So they're still with that small group. The class, the Career Discovery class, is very similar in many ways to what you heard described in AMS 95. The ICC staff do the lectures for that, the TAs do the discussion, and we continue to provide the TAs with a teaching methodology class that they do. For both the fall and the winter quarters, the TAs are 25% TA-ships. And they're getting mentored by us, and they're leading the charge with their undergraduates as well. In the spring quarter, we step back a little bit as staff. The mentors continue to work with their cohort, but they're focusing on taking the students out into the community on field trips to see what's really going on in different careers. So they do a behind-the-scenes trip at the Sacramento Zoo for students who are interested in animal science careers, or maybe food science students get a tour of the brewery here on campus and get something behind the scenes looking at what the careers are that are related to that area of interest if they're food science majors. So it's more hands-on, and the TAs lead the coordination of those experiences, and Dave and the ICC staff kind of monitor and help guide them as they do that. The graduate students get a stipend in the spring quarter. So an undergraduate, they could drop out, but for the most part, they stay for the whole year, and they're going to have different experiences. So by the end, they'll have a portfolio, they'll have all kinds of information, and they will have really had a chance to look at their interest areas. The cohort groups are divided as much as we can by interest area. This is a list of some of the areas of interest that students have had. Our most popular one is exploratory, because students don't like to commit even though they've picked a major. And we also have been able to open the past couple of years a group that's targeting EOP identified students, and those students can be from any of the colleges. And that's a little bit different. There were 2 sections last year like that, and 10 that were just CAES measures. You'll see the format is very similar in terms of the goals. One of the differences, you see these posters here, the final outcome in the freshman class is a poster session. Much like a professional poster session, you'll have 180 students. We did it at Freeborn, we've done it here we've done it at the Art Ballroom. Poster session, students do a final report in the form of a poster, and we have fabulous support by the staff in the College of Ag to create these beautiful posters, and the students have to stand up there and answer questions, and it's open to the public, and we invite other students to come. It's a great career exploration opportunity for all students to be able to go around and look at, what does an elementary school teacher do? What are the strengths and weaknesses of that career? That sort of thing. We also do a career speed dating event that the mentors coordinate as well, and you'll see some slides from that. 22 groups of students talking to professionals, and then time's up, move to another one, talk to somebody else, get more information. So they have a very intimate experience talking with people in their field. This is a picture from Career Speed Dating and a map of what was in the Art Ballroom. So you can see it was a very lively event, and it's very loud, I will tell you that. These are pictures from a poster session with the students standing up and answering questions about the materials that they do. The poster session really is a highlight for us, and we invite people to come to it. It is usually the last Tuesday or Thursday of instruction in the late afternoon. It really gives them a chance to see what research is. They've had to research an occupation. They have to present a report. They have to answer questions about their research. They have some findings, which is their opinion about this career now that they've investigated it. And sometimes they'll say, nope, don't like this anymore now that I've looked into it. And that's a good decision. We're talking about failure. It's okay to change your mind about something. It gives the students a chance to see that their experience of looking into something and learning about it is pretty typical for most students. They get some presentation skills, and they get to be a public resource for other people as well. The graduate students also have some outcomes because they've had a chance for a year to work on curriculum development, event planning. They've learned about mentoring, they've learned about teaching, they've learned about campus resources. They've learned how hard planning an event is. As you could see by today, things always go wrong, and that's certainly true when you're planning field trips and career speed dating. Your speakers don't show up. All kinds of things go wrong. And they get feedback from us as well in that seminar all the time. That's my very quick presentation on that. I'm going to turn this over to my coworker, Janice Moran, who's going to talk about assessment and student outcomes.
Yeah, we're very interested in knowing what our students are learning, knowing how we can be better instructors. And so we've been doing some assessments. We have, from the very beginning, done some very basic assessment on sort of teaching evaluations, the sort of things that you probably took when you were a student. Was the textbook helpful? Were the lectures organized? Was the professor available outside of class time when you needed assistance? Those kinds of things. That's not the assessment that I want to talk about today. Today I want to just introduce to you how we've been looking at student learning. So asking the question, what do our students know when they join the course? And at the end of all of their work and diligence, what do they know, and has that changed? So what we're using are just some simple surveys. We give the student an identical survey before the course starts that they take at the end, so pre and post surveys. We administer them online, so it's just a web-based survey, and do some fairly simple data analysis. So here's just a screenshot of what the survey looks like. This is not the entire survey, but what level of knowledge do you have about? And we list the things we're going to be teaching in the course. So requirements to enter an occupation. Do you have no knowledge, little knowledge, a moderate amount of knowledge, or expert knowledge? So again, we're going to compare the pre and the post surveys. Here's an example of some data. So if we say, how to conduct an effective job search, what do you know before the class starts? What's in dark blue on this graph? So to the left, we have a bar for none. 20% of the students said, I have no knowledge of this. 65% said, I have a little. And about 14% said, I'm moderate or expert in my level of knowledge. And that's before the class starts. At the end of the class, you can see the gold bars. And so a huge shift, where by the end of the class, we have 97% of our students saying, I either have moderate or expert knowledge of how to conduct an effective job search. I'll show you just one other graph, so the data don't all look the same, obviously, and that's helpful to us. We can look at the answers to each individual question and say, what is the topic that our students are not learning the most in? How can we change our assignments, what we do in class, how we engage a student around a given topic to help them improve? So if we see that they don't have much confidence in networking, then for next year, let's change what we do around networking. Here's an example of looking at all of the data collectively. So all of the topics and all of the students these are for AMS 95. I don't think I said that before. These are all for the 1 quarter career course. The blue bars are where the class started. The gold bars are where they end, the post-survey, so expert again is to the right. So we see this huge shift in students' knowledge base from where they started to where they ended up. So I want to show you one more slide of a nomograph. So this is the Career Discovery Group program. So the Science and Society 5, the 3-unit course that's taught in the winter. This is all of the students, and it's a very large group. And you see it's the same presentation of data. One difference is that for this group, they used a 5-point scale. In AMS 95, we used a 4-point scale to let students mark their level of knowledge. And you can see, again, huge changes. It is statistically significant. I'll get the words in the right order. So a pretty simple way to say, I have an activity, I have a class. Can I measure what students are learning or that they are learning? And it's been very informative as we, again, plan for the next year. Okay, just a couple minutes to talk about collaboration. These projects, the courses, for me personally, have been some of the most meaningful projects and collaborations that I've participated in on this campus. They've been really wonderful collaborations, and I like to think that they're model in that way. So for AMS 95, it's a collaboration really with American Studies and the Internship and Career Center. Why American Studies? We were intentional about reaching out to American Studies. We wanted the course to be offered under a program or department that would attract all students. We felt like if it was in the engineering department, a history major might say, what's that got to do with me, right? So American Studies, that's why we went there. We pitched the concept, we meaning the Internship and Career Center. We met with the department chair, said, here's what we would like to do, and we piloted the course as a seminar. So a 98 course, AMS 98. We then went through some steps of meeting with faculty and actually presented the data and the course outline and what we'd been doing to all of the faculty in American Studies. And I still remember the day they took a vote. And they took a vote about whether they would continue to support it and could we go forward with course approval. I will tell you that we didn't get the course approved the first time. I think that's probably not terribly unusual. We did a second application. We co-wrote the course approval application with the chair of American Studies. And that was, again, it was very meaningful and helpful as we evaluated what we were about and what were our goals, our educational goals for this class. And of course, we want it to be aligned with the educational goals, the training goals of American Studies. That's how we got to course approval, and now we have ongoing communication. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's more about scheduling classes and getting grades turned in and those kinds of things. So it's really administration. Now for CDG, it's also been a collaboration. In this case, the collaboration did not initiate with the Internship and Career Center. It was initiated with the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. So at the time, Associate Dean Ullman for undergraduate education programs really wanted to look at completion of degree and time to completion, and thought of this, started thinking about this, developing this program as a way to help students connect early with who they are, what they want to do. The idea being, if you early on know what career you're going to do, you're going to be efficient in terms of completing your degree. So a lot of folks have been partners in this process. So College of Ag and Environmental Sciences initiated it. They pitched the concept to the ICC. I still remember those meetings. We've got this idea. We're going to connect freshman experience, a freshman interest group with career. There were many, many meetings. Dave Rizzo was tireless, in fact, in his meetings. He met with every department in the College of Ag and Environmental Sciences. He reached out to every other college. And the model grew and kept being tweaked. 2 more meetings, let's change the model. This is a concern from this department, let's change the model. It was very much an iterative process and worked very, very well. It's an expensive program, meaning you have to pay for teaching assistants. So the money has come mainly from the College of Ag and Environmental Sciences. Initially, the Office of Grad Studies provided some mentor support, and the Vice Provost of Undergraduate Education and the ICC provided dollars and staffing for dollars for the ICC. So the Internship and Career Center, we were involved in curriculum development and delivery. We're still part of that, and now it's ongoing planning meetings. As Cynthia said, this is a big program, a lot of students, so the ongoing collaborative effort is larger than in AMS 95, which is now an established course. I'm going to turn it over. I think we've got like 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes.
2 more minutes. So one of the things we wanted to talk about is another level of collaboration. What Janice was talking about was the formal collaboration, but we use a lot of campus resources. We use them for the courses, and the ICC uses them all the time. And so we tried to list them. I've got a couple of slides just reviewing what some of those are. Of course, our services are what we offer to students initially in terms of career development. That's a very common resource. Workshops, advising, the events that connect students to employers, all of that is part of that. But we also connect frequently with academic departments and the dean's offices. We are often referring students to talk to the professors that you like, look at their website, get involved with the club. The Food Tech Club is very active. Food Science has their own job board. Biotech has a mandated internship program. There are all kinds of things that we send students to, and that also send students to us for assistance as well. And those are probably the most obvious, but we do a lot with CAPS, with Student Health, and they offer other career-related resources. If you have a student who is interested in being involved in a 6-week group discussion, seminar, counseling group, CAPS offers one both for undergraduates and graduate students in career exploration. You have to sign up for it. There's usually a waiting list, and there's one offered each quarter, not in the summer, so it's sort of limited, but for some students, that's the right resource. They also offer counseling services, and many times the issues that students have relating to career decision-making are not just about choosing the career. They're about family, they're about economics, they're about culture, they might be about visa issues. It's complicated. Might be about a disability or personal limitations for pursuing a particular field, self-confidence, all of those things. CAPS is very experienced in dealing with this. We often partner with CAPS for that. And CAPS is where the assessments are currently housed. They were in the ICC. If a student wants to do a formal assessment outside of the classes, they want to do it individually, they need to go to CAPS to do that. And there is usually a small fee involved. Another resource that we use often is Center for Leadership Learning. There's a wealth of information there. They have several certificate programs. One of them is in professional development, and that is really employability development. They have workshops, they have opportunities for students to get involved with leadership. They offer a minor. Frequently we'll see students and we encourage them to look at CLL because they have resources that we don't provide but are very career development oriented. Certainly CSI, the Center for Student Involvement, is a huge piece. Many, many students find what they're interested in and they get to practice things in their involvement in student organizations and clubs. It's very critical. We often are sending students, go to the CSI website, look at the search organizations, click environment, find out what the environmental science related activities are on campus. You want to do something international, look at Global Brigades for Environment. There are many projects there that we see as very active career development activities. We encourage students to put that on their resumes and to really test the waters in a different way than doing an internship. Community Service Resource Center, CSRC, is a part of the ICC. It's primarily run by students. It is a way to link students to community service. Many of our new students have done community service in their home communities. They'd like to continue that when they move to Davis. They don't know this community. They don't know where the food bank is or where the homeless shelter is, and they'd like to volunteer. CSRC has their own listserv messaging, their own database. They're great at that. They do a weekend of service with one-time projects every quarter for one weekend, and they coordinate a tutoring program in the local schools. Study abroad, that office has internship abroad opportunities. Students who think they're interested in international relations, go abroad. I worked with a fabulous student last year who was an IR major, spent a year abroad, came back and said, I do not want to do that. That is not for me. And she was studying a language. And she's like, I learned the language, I learned the culture. It was wonderful, but that's not the professional path I want to go down. Came back and did some turnaround and has graduated and is in a fabulous job, but it's not where she thought she was going to be. So Study Abroad is another partner for us, and we are going to be doing more with internships abroad. And certainly the Undergrad Research Center is really essential for students on this campus. It's a fabulous opportunity for students to test out career paths. You think you want to work in a lab? You think you want to be an academic? Go write a research paper based on your study of the retina and present it in a paper or a poster session and see, is that really the place you want to spend your life? For some students, the answer will be yes. For others, they're not so sure. So these are some of the partners that we work with on a regular basis. They're resources that you can always refer students to along with the ICC. We're happy to have you do that because they're fabulous. And for any of you that work for these resources, thank you. So we have a couple of minutes that we can take some questions and comments. So if any, yes, Valerie. Career speed dating.
Yeah, so how is it that you, so what were did they have to go through all of them, or?
You can't go through 22.
No, I understand. So how many minutes did they spend, and how many of
So we've arranged career speed dating events at, both in this class and sometimes in other program areas that we've done as well. And usually it's 10 minutes, and then you have a transition time. When liberal arts and the liberal arts and business area in our office has done it, it was 10 minutes and then there was a bell. And people moved and they moved to the next one. So and it was an event that went for 2 hours and students could come and go. For us, it's a 90-minute event and it's a class, they have to stay. So they're probably going to do 5 or 6 in the course of 90 minutes. So they totally get to choose, yeah, absolutely. You can't control that. at all, and you don't want to. And you want people to overhear something at another table that they weren't expecting to find interesting and go there. That's really what you want to have happen. So, there's a question in the back. Does it fill up?
Absolutely fills up with a very long wait list. So our challenge is to offer as many sections as we can.
And some of that changes based on staffing. You know, I mean, we did have this budget cut a few years back. So the ICC lost 12 staff. And so there were limits. Last year we offered 2 sections. So this year, if we're going to do 4, that'll be a big difference. So, other questions? Yes.
I'm sorry if this was already answered, but how long did it take to establish AMS 95, moving from a seminar to an actual?
Janice, you know that.
Yeah, we actually got approval about 5.5 years after we started as a seminar. And so we started as a seminar, about a year later, put in a course approval, didn't get it. There was some hesitancy to put in the second application until we had made some changes. So it was about 5 years.
Okay, way in the back. No, AMS 95 is for any undergraduate, and I think we've occasionally had grad students. I mean, it's not who it's targeted to, and it tends, I would say, sophomore, junior is, for the most part, it's not something freshmen tend to land in. I didn't catch the question.
The question was, would you encourage students who are questioning career choices?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
No, I don't think it's inappropriate. You just get something different from it. I mean, you learn to write a resume as a freshman, that's a different resume than you're going to write as a graduating senior looking for a professional job. And I think that, no, I don't think you can take it multiple times, but we do a lot of workshops so a student could come back and use our services. I mean, we see students many, many times. I mean, we're open all year long. Some of the students we're on a first name basis with them because we see them so often. So we'd like to see them before they graduate, before they even are filing for graduating, before the sooner, the better. So there was a question over in the middle here. Yeah, hi, Alex.
I know SAS 5 is only for qualified. Is there a similar program for the other colleges? Is there any
If the other colleges would like to do that, we are open to that. We'd love to see it as a campus-wide opportunity, but it's expensive. So the college has to be willing to help fund for the TAs. You know, there's a logistics issue. I mean, approaches have been made to other colleges. Different people have different levels of interest and different budgets. So, yeah. Yes, you. How does staff help with this? You mean in our office? Well, we're the ones that teach it, and we all like teaching. So we like standing in front of groups and talking and feeling that sense of power. So I think it's more like, I mean, it has to do with scheduling more than anything else, and whether staff have the space to do that because it's pretty labor intensive. I'm involved with teaching the CDG class with a coworker, and I mean, in the winter, we're in the lecture and preparing for the lecture. We're in the graduate seminar and preparing for that. We're grading papers. We're coordinating the submission of grades on the SMART site. We're uploading materials, and it's probably 10 hours a week. So, I mean, it's pretty labor intensive, and it means that that's time we're not teaching resume writing workshops or doing other advising. So, but I think most of our staff like teaching. So, I think that sign probably tells me I'm done. The light behind it doesn't let me read what it says. So, okay, 2 minutes. So I think that's 2 more really fast questions, way in the back. Right. Right. And I think probably, you know, it's the conversation getting started, and then there's going to be a way to house it somewhere. So thank you for being encouraging. Yeah, I think more of those kind of student affairs, academic side partnerships are beneficial, and I think it's enriching for everybody involved. I know way more about plant pathology than, you know, I ever did before, and I think that they know more about what career counseling and career development is. So it's a good partnership, and I think once you have faculty that are friendly, you partner with them often if you can. So, other comments, questions? Thank you so much for coming and being attentive. There are handouts here. Availability? PowerPoint availability? And evaluations. Please do evaluations.
Our PowerPoint will be part of the conference.
Questions by email. Thank you. Hi there.